In this video, I'm going to tell you categories that you can source in 2024 that are going to make your business profitable and successful. I want to talk to you a little bit about artwork. And I'm going to throw folk art in with this. For example, here's a piece that was done oil on paper attached to burlap. It was a Mexican artist that had done it. It had a really just a spectacular late 60s, early 70s feel to it. And this piece sold, not a really valuable piece, but for, like $150. Being able to identify something that has more value requires a few things. It can't be mass-produced. Mass-produced artwork rarely goes up in value. I want something that hopefully is signed and has some sort of flavor to it. It's not generic. Also in that same vein is folk art. Folk art has come on really strong in the last 4 or 5 years. Here is a shed that I had from an artist named Alex Nakori. He was an Alaskan who did folk art. I want to talk about weights and measurements. And I want to talk about those tools that are used to do that. For example, calculator. Calculators, everything from like when you're picking up a TI-84 and you know you're going to make 40 to 60 bucks on it as fast as you can get it listed. I want you to grab all of that stuff that you can. Easy to look up. It's got a number on it. But it wasn't always done that way. Calculator is not a new word. It is not a word that only belongs to electronics. What we're looking at are old measuring devices. These are tools that were used. For example, this cylindrical slide rule, what I want you to look at, it's actually the coating on it. It's not porcelain. It's actually paper over wood. And being a cylindrical slide rule made it extremely accurate. So engineers would have used this for bearing loads for bridges and things like that. And extremely accurate. And the same way for the Stanley ruler, the Stanley calculator that I had. Again, a type of slide rule. Very handy for someone that knew how to use it. A lot of these are paper over wood, and condition matters as much as anything because paper dissolves. So you can tell by looking at these were in incredible condition. How rare is it? As soon as I saw these, like the Thacker calculator, I knew that I had never seen one in person before. So I immediately knew that this is worth looking up. And the age on it was obvious. One of them was dated. But the age was obvious. So it comes down to how easy is this going to be to display? How cool is this going to look in somebody's office? Because when it starts checking those boxes off, the price starts going up. When you start adding age to that and great condition and display value, the price starts rising a lot. One of the areas that you need to become familiar with when you're outsourcing is pop culture. What things were super popular at a given time? Because if those were things that were super popular, everybody remembers them, but they either got used up or destroyed or just didn't last because of what they were made of, and you find those things in good condition, the value can go up an awful lot. Even for those of you who aren't gamers, you probably have heard of the game Zelda. So when you find things from Zelda, they're worth looking up, plain and simple. But for example, here's a comic book from Zelda. I had an issue number 1, great condition, easily going to bring over $100. You'll remember things like Dungeons and Dragons. A lot of those things got used up. And when you can find the original Dungeons and Dragons magazine, the value skyrockets. Think of pop culture as all of the things that everybody remembers, something that was iconic, that it's really hard to find. For all of the people who loved it and had it as a kid, they'd be like, oh wow, that would be cool to have. A lot of those items can blow past $100 and make you better at sourcing when you're out. I don't buy a ton of comic books. Most comic books are worth 50 cents or $1. But when I'm looking at those comic books, I start looking for things that I remember, not everybody has it, and I want one. And that I want one is going to bring me to the secret weapon for you when you are outsourcing. And it's going to tell you which one of these categories is best for you and where you can make the most money. There is going to be something that you know better than everybody else. you have a secret weapon. Whether that's you've spent your whole life sewing or quilting and you know that stuff really, really well, or you've spent your whole life painting and you know that stuff really, really well. I've spent my whole adult life woodworking. When I go into a place, I can identify the value in the woodworking stuff immediately, and I'm going to know the second I come across something that's actually valuable. My eBay store that I opened in '99 was originally old school woodworks, and all I sold was lumber and tools, and I bought lumber and tools. When I go into an estate sale or a garage sale or a private pick, if there's woodworking stuff there, I am not going to miss the real value. You know something about something. That is your secret weapon, and that's where to start. What do you know the most about? When you go out, you pick things that you know first. If you are an expert at something, and you probably are, then you start with that and expand from there. These items that I have added a ton of money to my overall income last year. They raised my average sale price. And so while I am picking up all the bread and butter stuff, just knowing a little bit about each one of these things makes you much more dangerous in this game. So that's it for this one. I truly appreciate you watching. I'm going to see you real soon on the next one. Bye.